News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian. And not only are we wrapping up National Moth Week, but I also have to apologize to the viewers for a completely gross oversight on my part. I failed to mention that this month was National Horseradish Month.
What? Max, shame on... I love horseradish, Allan. That's one of those weird things. I mean, I don't know. I've never... There's no food like horseradish.
I'm going to cue you for the of course you do.
Oh, man. That little blast you get through your nasal cavity.
I have it growing in the backyard, dude.
Okay.
Of course you do. See, I told you. I was ready for you.
And they get a whole month.
They get a whole month. This is an
Well,
important...
it is a strong vegetable.
I'd be interested in learning more about. Now, that's one food dude conversation I'd be happy to have with you, Allan. I do like some horseradish with roast beef
good
and
root,
whatever.
man. It's a good root.
It's got some
pretty
punch,
greens.
Is it of relation to the ginger?
It grows like ginger. Yes.
Okay.
But I tell you this though, it's one of those foods nobody has ever seen. You know, everybody buys it. It's already in the little jar or whatever. If you just saw a horseradish laying on the counter, it looks like a tree root.
I was going to say, I couldn't tell you what a horseradish looks like.
It looks like a big old chunk of tree root. And I will say this, however, the greens that grow from it are really quite decorative, really very lovely.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go, Max. I'm shocked at your oversight, but at least you caught it before we got out of here for the end of the month. Well, Allan, today we have a long overdue visit from our friends at Groundworks. I believe Kurt is coming in. So if you have any foundation issues with your home, this is the episode to listen to. He's going to be here in just a bit. So we're looking forward to visiting with our buddy Kurt. Okay, Allan, your week in review.
Man,
you said you may have earned Max's hotkey for your show is pretty shocking and horrifying, and you say you earned it.
I earned it this week. I earned every goat scream in that walk-on music.
You sent me pictures, and I didn't want one part of any of what you were doing. I'm like, better him than me, man. That looks like that did not look like a fun project.
It wasn't.
And ironically, it's a beautiful project. I mean, the homeowner was obviously very happy, and it's just like, but
you discover something in a lot of these projects. The cutesier it is, the worse it was to make it happen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh,
designers and contractors are not always in harmony.
No, we are not.
Okay. I'm loath to tease. I'm looking at these notes. We probably have 3 weeks worth of shows, but if we can, okay. I think we mentioned this last week, so maybe we should try to get to this today. The harmonious home. That might be even a new segment we're doing, but it's about bringing harmony to the home by being aware and being conscientious and considerate of everybody's situation in the home. Let's see. Allan, this is, what do they say? We manifest things, we bring things to pass. Only
you had a premonition.
Maybe it was a premonition, or maybe this ties into our new segment, the Cosmic Homeowner. But last week, I discussed the fact that in my neighborhood, man, there are trees everywhere, right up next to homes, and to me, they're ticking time bombs because these trees are aging out, and they're 20 feet from the house. Well, sure enough, last night, I have a neighbor with just such a tree, and it fell right into my front yard. Like this thing, and it didn't fall. It's dangling by a limb, and 80% of it is still in the air.
Yeah.
And if it falls the wrong way, it's going to hit my house.
I know you don't care about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Joe, but all I hear in my head is the sword of Damocles is hanging over my head.
There you go, the Damocles sword. So, but my neighbor Frank, big shout out to Frank. He's actually a loyal listener. He might be listening right now. Good. He's taking care of it. We got some tree. He got a tree guy. They're coming out this morning, and I'm pretty excited. They're gonna take care of the whole problem. So anyway, but it's just weird. I guess we better watch what we say, Allan, because the universe is listening.
Well, that opens the door to a grander conversation. We'll hang on to.
Okay, awesome. So there's a lot, folks, and I'm not gonna bother teasing it all because you'll just have to wait for the show to unfold organically. But before we get to any of these things, Let's get to our must-have item of the week. And now, I mean, I don't know that I ever brought this in, and this is one of these things that it's probably used at least once a week.
All right, well, I would like to oversimplify and just say it's a paintbrush.
Sure.
And then I'm going to turn around as a contractor, and I'm going to agree with you that is the paintbrush. If you have ever held a paintbrush, you need one of these. And I'm even going to use the brand name. Because,
okay,
well, we're just going to say it starts with a P.
It ends with a Y. It's a short name.
You think it's a real pretty looking brush.
Alan, if I was stranded on a desert island and I could only have one paintbrush the rest of my life, it would be this. Now, folks, what we're talking about, this is a 2-inch brush. When you go to the paint aisle, you're going to see a whole gamut of paintbrushes, and I don't know, they're sort of tiered. Usually the nice ones are on the top, and then they stack, and then the little 99-cent ones are at the bottom. We've preached this from the mountaintops, but don't ever buy a cheap paintbrush. Spend the extra $6. Don't be a cheapskate, and get a good paintbrush.
Now, I have a query as to what is the science behind the guillotine taper?
Okay, so this one is I'm very specific here too, Max. This is a 2-inch. It's the thin cut. The profile is very thin. It's probably a 1/2-inch thickness. And it's got a 2-inch taper, but it also has the nylon bristles. And they're latex bristles, and I'm not going to apologize, Alan. I've even used these for oil-based paint, and I don't care who knows it. So, but this brush, you were sort of surprised to know this brush. I posted it on our Facebook page. It's got to be 4 or 5 years old, but it looks great because I don't let anybody else use this brush.
Yeah, sadly, other people use my brushes. They never make it that far. But,
no, I wash this thing immediately when I'm done. So.
Running commercial crews for the last 8 million years, like I have, of a paintbrush was a great way of doing an interview.
Oh yeah, go ahead because I know your technique.
I would hand somebody a standard 2-inch flat cut of standard paintbrush, not the thin, the standard.
Yeah.
And I'd say, okay, I need you to just, cut in for me a little bit around this trim. And if you went and stuck that paintbrush in there like you were digging out some ice cream and scooped it around and got as much paint on it as possible, I knew that you were going to be using a shovel.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give you that paintbrush.
You're not doing detail
you
work
are
around
not
here.
I might be using you in rough labor, but you are not going to be a finisher.
Right.
Of a good paintbrush makes all the difference. And I just recently shocked a crew by showing them that you can actually use that exact paintbrush, only half of it at a time.
Well, okay.
You can just get paint on half of it so that you can paint that edge without having to spend 12 hours taping.
That's what, Max, you were asking about the taper. And the reason I like the taper is because a lot of times with painting, you're going into a corner, and it's exactly like, if you didn't say it, Alan, I never put paint on both sides of the brush. I always dip it in, and I just have it on half of the brush.
It's kind of like getting peanut butter on the knife. You just kind of get
you wouldn't have it everywhere.
Tiny little bit on that bottom edge.
But effectively, Max, what you have with that is now you can get that point into that tight corner. And my tendency is I usually start, if I'm doing trim, I usually start at the bottom, and I find that then I go up, and then I just find that as you go up, you're actually, you're sort of doing sections every 2 feet and working down, and you're using gravity to your advantage. But this brush is awesome, and it makes a difference what brush you use, as we well know, Alan, because this is the soft one. You can get soft, firm, or whatever, but I do prefer the soft because I just think it gives a better finish. So
now I'm going to throw in a weird science fact about a paint brush.
Okay.
As to what actually holds the paint on the brush.
Oh, yeah, because we get microscopic around here, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And this one, well, we've heard of nanofiber these days, that kind of technology. Well, the reason that, back in the day, a horsehair brush was good at slinging whitewash. However, a boar's head brush, a.k.a. hairs from a pig, did a much, much better job of delivering small amounts of paint. So what your paintbrush was made of And when you look at them microscopically, you find out why. So our modern paintbrushes are patterned after brushes in the past. And if you look at a single thread, a single piece out of a brush, you will see that it is actually very fragmented up and down the sides so that it almost looks bushy.
Yeah, like when you look at a hair under a microscope, you're like, wow, this thing looks like a palm tree or something.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But same thing. Yeah, and it makes a difference. All of it makes a difference. And you're setting yourself up for success too, because nothing will slow a job down or make you really just you could have the best paint in the world, but if you got a lousy paintbrush, it's not gonna look right.
And don't get in a hurry.
Yeah,
Paint
don't be in
care.
a hurry. And like we said, spend the extra $5 or $10 and get a good one. But this is the must-have item of the week: the 2-inch thin tapered nylon latex brush. All right, well, Allan, I am rubbing my hands together because I can't wait to hear what happened with this 40-pound concrete sink you had to install.
Oh, yeah.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Is there anywhere in this town where we could buy a shrubbery?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we were extolling the virtues. Is extolling the right word, Allan?
That's a good one.
Of the 2-inch nylon tapered brush that I, like I said, if I could only have one brush the rest of my life, it would be this one. And also, Max let us know that this is National Horseradish Month. And not all horseradishes are created equal. Some of them, let's just say it, they're wimpy, Allan. They don't give you that kick or that weird, I don't know what, the thing that goes right through your nasal passages.
If you
and
grow
out
it in
your
the
ears.
Mid-South, it's going to kick you.
Okay.
I promise you.
It is one of those rare. I like it as a nice accoutrement. I like I like me some horseradish. So, all right. Well, Allan, I have been really, really eager to find out about what happened this week.
Oh, the humanity.
In Allan's Week in Review, it's like okay, you achieved nice results, but man, I wouldn't want any part of the project you were working on this week. So.
Oh my gosh. You know you're in for a day when you have reached a point in a project where they have now made you a pile in the living room that nobody else will touch.
Well, for new listeners,
so
let's just say Allan has been in hot and heavy in the middle of a pretty big remodel. You've remodeled this person's kitchen, the bathroom. It's not fair to call it a bathroom, Allan. This is a spa. These people are going first
No, we've
class.
redone 3 bathrooms.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yeah, this is an actual 2,500 square foot rebuild.
Okay.
From the studs forward.
Okay.
So this has been a massive project, but we are closing in on the, as they would say, move-in ready stage.
There you go.
So it's the final countdown?
It is the final countdown. And this is the half bath at the front.
Okay.
And, of course, the electricians didn't put the light power where it was supposed to be. They put in the wrong thing. This is a new construction, and I am basically, my own shortcoming is I'm used to working with old buildings. I'm used to working with 40-year-old, 100-year-old disasters.
Retrofitting.
Yeah. So this was new stuff. So I'm kind of like, okay, is that supposed to be there? Is this supposed, I'm finding that I'm running into the same issues.
Okay.
So, one, if you haven't done new plumbing, you now have to create the exit for your water. You now have to put this together, and you need a part that's not in the bags. So you need a little adapter with the screw threads on one side and the over-the-top fitting so that it can be actually glued together. Mm-hmm. So that was the first thing I walked into, and I'm looking at that, and I'm going, all right. And everybody's like, well, let's do that first. And I went, no, let's do that last because we don't know where everything else is going to land. So if we pre-make this, we're stuck.
Yeah.
So,
you need flexibility.
Yeah. So we didn't do it in order. And this is one of these things where somebody has the Post-it note with what the client wants.
And And as the contractor, you walk in and you chuckle and you go, yeah.
And you're going to go, all right, well, let me see this sink. All right, well, one, I mean, it's a beautiful sink. Don't get me wrong. But it's very shallow. It's very decorative. And it's 2-inch stone.
This thing weighs a lot.
40 plus pounds.
Yeah.
And they want it on a floating cabinet.
We should explain what a floating cabinet
Which
is.
means there's nothing under your feet. There's no kickboard underneath the bottom of this.
Don't explain it in case people would want to install it.
No, they're cool. I don't mind Alan, I'm not as opposed to these as you are. If they're installed correctly.
Despise these things. But I've had too many of them rip off walls.
Well, they need to be, if you're going to go this route, folks,
they got to be in the studs.
They have to be in the studs.
They got to be in the studs.
Like several studs.
Because this is a mixture. You're saying water is the enemy, so imagine water something being exposed to constant amounts of water that's floating. It just sounds like you're asking for trouble.
You are.
Well, and also you need these. The drain pipes have less. They don't have a lot of flexibility.
No.
If that drain pipe shifts by 1/8 of an inch, it could start leaking.
It will cause you problems. So, all right, and I'm looking at it, and of course, nothing is pre-measured. Nothing was designed to go together. Nothing has holes in it. And you're just like going, oh my gosh. So,
Hey, sorry, Alan, but can I just describe something? Because you talked about this sink. This sink looks cool. I'm just going to say.
Oh, it's adorable.
It almost looks like, to me, it almost looks like a large piece of paper where you lifted the four corners up slightly.
Yes.
And it creates a very small, shallow bowl area.
It does.
Okay, anyway. You're not filling that thing up 5
and
inches
there's
and
no
washing
overflow.
your face. Right.
This is a stone sink.
And you have one little curve at the bottom intersecting with the drain.
Yeah.
I don't like it. We've talked about our disdain for the bowl sinks because they look cool, but
they look so
practically
cool, but they are
speaking,
so amazingly useless.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm upsetting every decorator and designer on the planet. And you know what? Bring it on.
Yeah.
Send me your hate mail. Your tears make me stronger.
There you go.
I'm sure it was useful when your ancestors in Rome were using it.
But
no, because they
have a
made them
drain.
deeper.
Exactly.
They made them deeper. This looks like you're going to bathe a hamster.
Yeah.
This is, oh my gosh. So, well, one, we have got to get the cabinet. So everybody is watching me for like 2 hours with a pencil, measure and draw all over this cabinet. And nobody can figure out what I'm doing. And finally, one of them gets brave and is like, all right, man, what? And I'm like, all right, here's where the water's coming from. Show me where to put it.
Yeah.
Oh, you put it right here. Okay, flip it over. Congratulations, Sparky. You're trying to install that right through the middle of the support.
Right.
And it's like, all right, not only do you have to have a hole that the base can fit in, but it also has to be big enough for all the pipes to go through, but yet small enough that the retention ring that you got to install on the bottom has to have room to install.
And it can't have a stud in the
And
way.
it can't have a support in the way. It can't have a brace. It can't have, but you can't have a brace very far away because this little portion of the wood now has to support that weight.
Can I ask a question, too?
Absolutely.
And I want people to maybe, I don't know, maybe people are listening and go, boy, do you guys sound like a bunch of whiners and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, there are so many parameters with what you're working with. But did it already have the light fixtures centered and installed? I mean, in terms of where they were going to go.
The what?
I'm just picturing because you have to center this where it's going to look good. You can't just shove it anywhere.
I didn't even have the proper receptacle.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that's going to be another fight that's still coming. That's going to be next week's complaint. So, all right, so the trick is this sink weighs like 40-something pounds. So it is going to be a constant pull.
The sink bowl.
The bowl, just the sink itself.
The cabinet itself is what, another 80 or 100 pounds?
That was actually fairly well built and fairly light.
Well, why do they put stuff in it, though? And people lean on it or sit on it.
It's still going to get massive. Yeah. So
if it's light and the sink is 40 pounds, then isn't that creating a problem in terms of future dippage in the?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So see, this is one of these lucky things is bizarrely, for strange reasons, I had a piece of 3/4 inch medical plywood. Actually, that had come from a medical ramp.
What does that mean, medical plywood?
That means this stuff is overly coated with stuff to keep it from coming apart.
Okay.
This was part of
reinforced plywood.
This was a ramp that people used to be a part of a device that people learned to walk on. So this thing was designed to never, ever, ever, ever come apart. So when they decided to take that down, I kept the plywood.
Yeah, it
because
sounds pretty good,
it is the hardest plywood you will ever see in your life. And I happen to have just the magic size to go, aha. So we're going to put the bracing into the wall. We're going to find the studs. And then I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to put a tray of this medical plywood into the bracing and the studs. So now, Max, I get to spin around and look at you and go, I'm not worried about future dippage.
Now, does plywood, future dippages is also a good song name, but
Yeah.
I was going to ask, does plywood age the same way that like regular, like other wood might age?
No, but it also depends how much moisture gets to it.
Because
man.
If
You're
it's
talking about glue and thin sheets of wood.
Basically pine.
Yeah,
A lot of pines, because of the rosin content, actually get harder as they get older.
Okay. Hey, the important part is, though, you won the battle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well,
But how about the war?
we'll find out. Yeah, because the bathroom's not over yet. But we'll continue the drama when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And after that, I'm going to show you this log I found. It's got like 50 worms on it. I call it Worm Log.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
I mean, branding is everything, Allan. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we want to wish you a happy National Horseradish Month. Can't believe Max waited till the fourth week to
I
tell
just
us
had to
about
wait
this.
to the conclusion of National Moth Week.
Okay, yeah. And I guess we still, we'll take suggestions on your favorite moths as well, since it's the end of the week. So
I still have some pretty juicy ones to discuss.
yeah, we don't want to hear yours, Max. They're weird, but okay. But in a minute, I want to share a great tale of well, I don't know if we call this prophecy, Max, or if I don't know what we call this, but it's a tree tale, we're going to call it. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. You talk about a guy that, okay, for one thing, Jay is one of the top-rated roofers in the entire Mid-South. He is a GAF Master Elite Installer. He's always 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau and Good Housekeeping. But Jay is all about the exterior protection of your home, from roofing to gutters to siding to windows, and all interior and exterior remodeling except kitchens and bathrooms. And after talking to Allan, Max, I understand why he doesn't get near those bathrooms or kitchens. But Jay, these are systems that are being installed. These all have to work harmoniously. They all have to be installed properly. And when they are, they add life to, they protect your home. And from the top down, we always lean heavily into Jay's roofing expertise because, for one thing, like we said, he is a GAF Master Elite Installer, and these are roofing systems, and they have to be installed. They have to be installed properly. But also, one thing that sets Jay apart is the fact that Jay is a former insurance agent, and that is hugely helpful because if you have any issues with your home, that where there's a question, is this going to be covered by my homeowner's insurance? Jay should be the first person you call. He's going to come out. It's a free consultation, and he is going to help you. He's going to help you navigate that entire claims process. And if there is a path forward and you can make a claim, boy, is that an exciting prospect. It's going to save you a lot of money, and you have their expertise to help you get these repairs done properly. And Jay also has 30 lenders at his disposal, so he's got you covered from top to bottom. We love Jay Hill. He's got a great business culture, and he's a lot of fun to talk to. He brings energy and enthusiasm to every project that he's a part of. And he encourages you to call him directly. So get in touch with Jay. You can call Jay at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. All right. Well, hey, we had a little we've got our buddy Kurt coming in the next segment, and so from Groundworks, and it's a long overdue visit, Allan. These guys work hard.
We're ready.
But I'm sorry, they need to get in here more often. But anyway, Max, I don't know if you have anything queued up for this, but there we go. Anyway, so Allan, I mentioned it last week. It is just weird how life is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know people overuse the word manifesting too much these days, but I do believe there's something in the power of our subconscious that maybe we observe things and subconsciously we pick up little cues and things like that, and maybe we're just ahead of the curve. Our subconscious is always ahead of the curve when it comes to predicting things.
Well, better than that bag of chicken feet you were shaking around the trees, so,
But last week, we were talking literally. I live in a neighborhood where the trees are, there was a trend. This was built in the 50s, and these trees,
yes,
almost every house, there's a giant tree planted a good 10 or 15 feet from the house, and these trees are aging out, and they're really just like, I hate to say it, it's a ticking time bomb. Well, lo and behold, last night
the bomb went off. Yeah.
My neighbor Frank, big shout out because he's a loyal listener to Tool Talk,
right.
but he their tree is one of these trees. It's right by the front of his house and the front of my house, and a limb it fell, but it's still connected to the top of the tree, Allan. So
it is a true widow maker.
So 80% of this tree is it's hanging on by a thread, but it's if it tips the wrong way, it's going to hit the house. So luckily, we have a great tree guy that took matters. They came out last night, like they made an emergency thing, and they're coming this morning to address it. And as a matter of fact, Frank said, "You know what? I was listening to your show last week, and they're cutting the whole tree down." So. I'm not complaining. Honestly, this tree is aging out a little. So
now all I hear in my head is Handel's Alleluia.
Yeah. Well, they'll sleep better, and it's just, this, so why not? It's a problem, and you don't want to wait. It's one of these. It's almost like gambling. You're just like, okay, is it better to spend a few $1,000s now, or what happens after it hits my house? You don't want a tree to hit your house.
No.
So,
we have so many sins of the past. We have so many of.
Everybody thought it was a great idea. I'm going to plant this tree right here.
I'm going to, this. We got some new
Over
thing
the water
called a
lines.
Ceylon pear, and they're real pretty.
Yeah.
Nobody told us it smelled like anchovies and was going to fall apart every time we looked at it.
Right.
That's also called the Bradford pear, people. If you have one, cut it down.
Yeah.
But so many homes were landscaped so amazingly incorrectly.
Yeah.
And, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, nobody took into consideration how big holly bush roots get.
Oh, I hate those things, yeah.
Just how big that little bitty pine tree that's so cute and fluffy turns into a 70-foot tall giant we kept... there's the one majestic oak. We kept it, and we left it in Joe's front yard. It's going to be great. Well, that tree was already 200 years old.
Yeah.
It's only got about another 50, and then it's going to start, disassembling. And, I hate to say it, but when you're looking at the landscaping of your home, and if you look at your home as the single largest investment you're going to make.
Yeah.
For many people, this is where your money is.
Mm-hmm.
Times being what they are, take that any way you want.
Yeah.
Your home holds most of your money.
Oh, yeah.
And you do not need a tree through it.
Well, I'm going to be curious, too. I'm looking forward to talking to Kurt when he gets in here for the next segment, because I'm wondering how many trees cause problems with your foundation, and that's what,
All right, well,
it can't be good for a slab.
all right. Well,
It's
2
not
weeks
good
ago,
for
I had to replace 40 feet of French drain because it was a 6-inch drain with a 5-inch root in it.
There you go. Yeah. So, but hey, a big shout out to Frank. Frank, I'm happy for you. I think this is going to be mutually beneficial for us. So it's going to be loud at my house for the next couple days, but I don't mind. The chainsaws will be running.
Well, let me throw in also with summer storms and all of that. If you're getting excess deadfall, if every time you go in the backyard there is stuff everywhere, really you need to get an arborist. I'm dead serious. Contact an arborist and have them give you a health checkup on your little forest, because your forest might be trying to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, honestly, I have a picture on my phone of a 12-foot long tree limb, about 8 inches around, and it looks like a post somebody drove in the ground. And that is how it fell from the tree into the soil during the storm.
Oh, yeah, it's like a missile. So.
It is shocking and amazing. So we love our trees. We need our growth. We love our curb appeal. But please, please be careful with it.
Okay. Well, I'll keep you posted on the continued drama, but I'm pretty excited about this.
Well, look at this way. You're a woodworker. You get a lot of free stuff.
I was going to say, I kind of want to save. I want to save a few limbs from this just to make something out of it. But hey, Allan, I got a really random question for you that I want to throw at you.
Science! I like random questions.
It's a big left turn, but I've been curious about it for the last few weeks. And okay, well, we have a refrigerator that we bought about a year ago. It's fairly, it's a nice one, but we didn't go nuts. We didn't get the one with the TV screen on the side, and it's not connected to Wi-Fi. It's just very practical. It has the ice maker,
it's just a fridge,
one door on one side, one on the right. So okay, but I don't know why I got fascinated with this. Somebody had used the refrigerator a couple times. My son, my daughter, my wife grabbed something out of it, and then it was my turn, and you heard the little tss, and I went to pull the door open, and it was like sealed. I'm like, I guess it's resetting or it's doing something. But like, if I were to force it, that door is almost, the vacuum seal is going up. I think I understand why it does it, but why does it do it? And my wife was like, well, don't force the door open. You'll ruin the whatever. And I was like, I feel like that might be something we should mention on the air.
Okay, well, what do you think it was? What do you think it was?
Well, I'm imagining that the door had been open off and on. And I hate to say it, my wife has a bad habit of leaving the door open for 30, for a minute or two at a time. I always close it right away, especially in the summer. But I'm thinking, okay, it's been open a few times. There's probably a lot of warm air in there, and maybe it's telling itself we need to. That's what I'm asking.
It's cycling through. Okay. Well, two different things could have happened. Okay. One is exactly that. When you open a refrigerator door, all the air in it is heavier than the air in the room.
Okay.
So if you're standing there with your little bare feet and you open the refrigerator door, do you feel the cold on your face or your feet?
Well, of course, yeah.
Because it literally falls out of the refrigerator. So the longer you leave the door open, the more warm air, which is larger, warm air is more expanded than cold air. You close the door, it begins to cool. You are now creating a small vacuum.
That's what you can tell. I mean, you can hear it.
And you can actually hear it doing it. And it will normalize in just a little bit. You're not going to screw anything up, but you are going to stretch the little magnetic seal if you force the door.
That's what I was saying.
If you leave it alone for another couple of minutes, everything will equalize and you'll be all right.
I was going to say, it sounds like a small thing, but if you stretch the weather stripping out, and then you suddenly have a bend in it, and now you have a constant draft. You got to take care of that weather stripping. I've seen a lot of homes where the weather stripping is bent, and you're just letting air drain out.
Yep,
so.
You're just costing money.
Okay, this is going to be cool, you guys. When we come back, we're going to visit with our buddy Kurt from Groundworks. So if anybody's got any foundation issues, this is the time to get in touch with us. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Lisa and I built your room, but I don't don't like this clown.
I wouldn't take it down if I were you. It's a load-bearing poster.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass and in the house for a long overdue visit. I shouldn't just keep driving that point home, Allan, but I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you guys take a long time to get in, but we've got Kurt Weir, who is a certified field inspector for Groundworks, one of our great sponsors. Mm-hmm. But Kurt, it's good to have you in, man. Thanks for joining us on Tool Talk.
I appreciate it.
I know you guys work a lot, but we need more regular visits. I think it's only your second time in, but John or Kurt, I think you heard our last segment, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm curious, before we start getting into some of this other, do trees play much of a role in your with foundation problems, or
occasionally they do. It's a lot of times it's concrete related, driveways and sidewalks and stuff like that are pushed up. Tree heave is what we call it.
I'm going to use that for now. That's the new name for my band.
Tree heave.
Tree heave.
That would be a good name, wouldn't it? I can play the triangle in your band.
There you go. Okay.
But yeah, tree heave is a big deal with concrete, sidewalks, driveways, pool decks, things like that. And occasionally a foundation. It'll push a foundation up too.
Yeah, that's why we're just very just don't plant trees. I don't know that people are doing this anymore. As a matter of fact, I feel like there's a lack of trees these days.
I recently made a quote unquote, we're going to call this an amateur landscaper. Yeah, there were tears.
Okay.
There were tears. Let's just say any place where you're going to have a walkway with mobility challenged people.
Yeah.
And this is near and dear to my house, myself, because I am mobility challenged.
Not really.
I don't. I get around pretty good, but I don't get around like I used to. And for heaven's sake, don't have a rose-lined path.
Yeah.
At your business.
Well,
don't do this. Just pick anything else, not roses. You're just begging for pain.
Well, Kurt, and actually sidewalks play a role in what you do, because Groundworks is all about really just a healthy foundation and a stable foundation, but that goes for your sidewalk, your driveway, and everything, right?
Yeah, it's a whole house. You said it earlier, talking about your biggest investment, and there's so many things that could go wrong, and it does on a lot of cases. That things are trees are a big thing, bushes. All those things, like when I'm trying to go in a crawl space, holly bushes. Oh my goodness! Holly bushes are from the devil. That's all I can say.
They're the spiky ones with the leaves that'll impale you.
They
right?
are little hypodermic needles painted green, is what they are.
Yeah, and they have the worst roots.
Yeah,
they have. I had a building a couple of years ago, kept having a flooding issue, and we finally just dug down enough. And we found where somebody had cut down the holly bush, covered with mulch, didn't remove the stump, but that thing had roots that had gone above the foundation, below the stucco, and had pushed the building apart.
Wow.
So, oh my God, of course, then they cut down the bush, and now the roots were giving up and weren't watertight anymore. And now it was literally flooding the building.
Tree heave.
Tree
I'm going to use this.
like
I'm stealing this.
Shrubbery shoving and tree heaving.
You won't remember my name, but you remember tree heave. Right?
Well, Kurt, I got a question. So Groundworks, okay, now you're a field inspector, so you're the one when people call, they're gonna meet somebody like you. And do the initial inspection. But, some people may not even realize they have a foundation problem, because foundation problems, it's not like you suddenly have a gaping hole under your – it can manifest itself in unusual ways, right? So
sometimes it's a slow burn, if you will, that your floor is sinking over time, or, you may not notice a little crack on the outside of your house or over your doors inside, things like that. Just things that a lot of people call normal settling. Well, there is no such thing as normal settling. It's very common,
Yeah.
but your house is not designed to settle,
Right.
which is why I'm in business. So.
Normal settling. It's interesting because I don't want because you remember who was Mr. Brady from the Brady Bunch? They used that exact word. They said this is just normal settling. Remember the episode where they thought the house was haunted because it was making these weird.
That sounds like a guy's name. Is like normal settling.
Yeah. Do you ever get people that say, "Okay, I have this groan or I have this weird"? Do people ever call you because of sounds? I'm wondering.
They call for lots of reasons. It's sometimes it's comical, and I'm a guy that likes a good joke. So
Yeah.
occasionally I'll laugh in their face just because that's just the way I am. But I'll kind of ease that over with the customer too. But there's a lot of different things that can present in a house, and I always equate it to like your doctor, like your own health. Usually there's some kind of a symptom that tells you something's wrong.
Right.
So a house is the same way. The house is going to show cracks over the doors, cracks on the brick on the outside, a trip hazard on the concrete, something like that that's going to show, hey, something's wrong.
Right. Well, that's the thing. And so what are some telltale signs that people should be thinking about? Like if they're out there and they're like, well, I don't know what shape my foundation is in. So.
Right. Well, I'll just start with concrete on the outside. As I walk into every business, I look at the concrete. You guys don't. I do, right? Because we level concrete.
Right.
So I look for trip hazards and things like that. Even in my own church, when I started in my new church a year and a half ago, the front door, and we've got an elderly crowd. I'm one of the youngest ones there. Mm-hmm. And as I walked in the front door, there was about a 1/2-inch trip hazard right there. So I was like, we got to fix that. So we fixed it. And those kinds of things I see because that's what I do for a living, right? But it's trip hazards on concrete. It's cracks over the doors, sticking doors on the inside, whether it's a slab or a crawl space, either one, and cracks on the brick on the outside, stair step cracks on the outside, and things like that. Those things are not normal. They're signs of something may be wrong.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we think of normal wear and tear, but yeah, those are unusual. And, I don't know, Alan. I mean, and some people, we've even seen this in the house. I've seen floors where you might have like a tile floor and they're separating and there's almost like a stair step crack in your floor. That can't be good.
Yeah. Anytime you see, so when I look at a tile floor, when I walk into a house, if it's a real small hairline crack in the tile itself, that tells me the tile's stuck pretty well for one thing. And then, but if it's stuck and then something's moved underneath it, the only thing underneath it is the concrete.
There you go. So, hey, Kurt, how do people get in touch with Groundworks if they want to schedule an appointment?
Yeah, one of the better ways is just on getting on groundworks.com, and you can set up an appointment there.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it, actually, and that's the way most people do it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to continue visiting with Kurt Weir, a certified field inspector for Groundworks. If you've got any questions about your foundation, call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And in the house, we've got our buddy Kurt Weir. He's a certified field inspector for Groundworks. So if you have any issues with your foundation, with any part of your home, including uneven driveways or sidewalks, they are all about giving you a solid foundation for your home and inspecting the health of your foundation. And also, we should just say, if you're just tuning in today, this is National Horseradish Month, and Allan, I am a horseradish enthusiast. Mm-hmm. Kurt, I don't know where you land. Do you like horseradish, man?
I kind of like fresh breath, so no.
Oh, well, hey, wait a minute. What are you saying? It's the weirdest food. I've never experienced another food where it's got that weird blast through your nasal cavity, Allan. I don't know.
I can introduce you to so many more foods, but Horseradish is a good traditional American standard.
It's got to have the right kick to it, though.
And you're neglecting the fact that it's the International Moth Week, and so I guess I have to ask, well, what role do moths play on the destruction of your foundation?
Hey, that's a good question, Kurt. You know, we do I like moths, but sometimes they're the harbinger of doom, right? I mean,
I don't think moths are a big factor on the detriment to your foundation.
Okay, good. I mean, we know they can destroy a wardrobe, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's more worried about termites than he is.
Termites are bad. I mean, that's not our game, but termite, I see a lot of termite damage. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's the kind of dynamic conversation you can expect today. So, hey, but Kurt, before we jump back into talking about your foundation, we actually have a text, right, Max? And I think this listener has a question for you. So,
well, Joe, we got a text from Joe.
Nice. I like the name. Okay, so what does Joe have to say?
You're not going to like this.
Oh, okay.
I have a house that was built in the 70s, and it has a crawl space. There are 3 jacks under the house, but we are still having a little cracking at the door frames in the sheetrock. What should we do?
Kurt, you want to explain what the jacks are? I think I know what they are, but...
what it is...
Thanks, Joe, for the text, by the way. Yeah.
Typically in a crawl spaces are more than half the work we do. I did not get my college degree to climb under houses, but I've been doing it for 10 years now. But
I'd get claustrophobia, man.
You know, if you don't like spiders and you're a little claustrophobic, that's the wrong job for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But it's... usually when there's cracks over the doors like that, there's lots of different ways to attempt to solve that problem. And jacks, when someone says they have jacks under the house, do they have blocks under their house? I have seen a car jack under a house. I have seen a tree stump used as a jack under a house or a block under a house. And my joke there is Bubba does what Bubba can afford.
There you go.
Bubba does what Bubba does.
We've heard of Chuck in his truck.
That's exactly right.
There you go.
But hopefully Chuck in a truck, at least steps it up from a tree stump. But those things like that where someone already has jacks under their house, most likely, not knowing unless I'm there, there's probably some moisture present. And the moisture is causing the wood to sag, and that's the need for some kind of support, supplemental support underneath, like floor supports that we put in there, or jacks, whatever you want to call those.
So, wait, Max, though, you said even with these jacks, he's still having issues?
Yes.
What? Okay.
With the sheetrock.
So what do you think? I mean, so obviously, and we don't know where these jacks are. Joe, we might need a little more information from you here, but where are the jacks typically right in the middle? Because I'm picturing, okay, well, if you start jacking up the floor joist, well, you better hope that floor joist is pretty strong too, right? And
right.
It's not compromised. And do you have to reinforce the floor joist before you jack it up, or?
Sometimes we do. So typical to say, I'm just going to give you something for an easy visual on the radio. If you've got a rectangle-shaped house that's 24 foot wide and 30 feet long.
Yeah.
There's typically one main beam down the middle, and then floor joists going off from that main beam to the outside perimeter foundation. And where the problems usually occur is between that main beam and the outside, that floor joist starts to sag because of moisture or time, or both. And sometimes the integrity in the wood is still solid enough for us to just put some floor supports or jacks underneath there without having to sister new wood against the old wood. But occasionally we do have to sister newer wood with it to give us a little more stability.
So what's your advice for Joe, our listener? So does he just need more jacks, or they?
Well, I mean,
sounds like he needs a visit from Groundworks. Honestly,
he definitely needs someone to come out and take a look, because that's kind of like the symptoms thing that I was talking about earlier. That's the cracks are a symptom of something else is wrong. Well, something else that's wrong could be as severe as extreme moisture and mold growing in the crawl space that's compromising the wood, that's allowing it to sit down and cause the cracks above. And what a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know, is half the air you breathe in your house with the crawl space comes from under the house.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on a slab, so I guess I'm safe. But
no, you're not breathing the air from under there. No.
So, because it's not, so in other words, you have to address the fundamental problem.
Yes.
We had your friend John in last time, and it was my thought was the solution to the humidity problem in the crawl space was to circulate more air, but he actually corrected me on that. There's a whole it's a completely different solution, right?
Yes, it's an encapsulation system.
So close it in
Yep.
and control the moisture.
You're going to create a climate controlled environment. Is what you're going to do. We're going to put a 120 mil thick liner on the floor of the crawl space, 20 mils on the wall, seal up all the vents, and put a dehumidifier and air system in there. And then you got conditioned air. You have absolutely no chance of moisture damaging the wood any further.
Okay, so Joe, we just called Groundworks or get in touch with Groundworks, and we actually have the phone number here now. So you can go to groundworks.com, or you can call 901-459-2290 and make sure you tell them that you heard about it on Tool Talk Radio. So, all right, well, Joe, good luck. I feel like there's probably bigger.
Yeah, he definitely has to have somebody look at that, because it could. It's amazing how often, and I used the medical example earlier, that we neglect things that are very obvious because we're like, oh, it's normal, or it's whatever it is. And then like that in a crawl space. I've walked into a person's house before where I walked in the front door and their living room floor was literally touching the crawl space. It had collapsed.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so imagine the neglect there, that they let that go long enough that you got to feel that bounce. You're going to feel a bounce and all these. I mean, everybody knows that's not normal.
Right.
Well, and especially when you walk in and there's a big belly in the living room floor, that is desperate times then. So
I have to say, Kurt, as a young contractor when I was in my 20s and stuff, I didn't think about moisture that much. Now, granted, I was building decks and doing, remodeling and stuff, but man, I think about moisture all the time now, Allan. That's all. I mean, moist, and it's insidious. It's subtle. It's in the air. It's like, wow, we have a humid summer. Well, that's a pretty big deal. It's like, humidity is the slow killer, you could say.
Well, I give you a great case in point, and I'm going to watch Kurt's eyes as he looks at me in pain. When I had a job I got called in on several months ago, in which they were having the HVAC system, having a new HVAC system put in the building. However, they thought it was a great idea while I love the words, while we're doing this, they went ahead and had a new floating floor put in. Since nobody was going to be in the building, let's get this done. The problem was the air conditioner didn't come in for about 4 weeks.
And flooring has to acclimate to your space.
So here we sat at the beginning of summer with this beautiful new floating floor everywhere in the building with no air conditioning.
Man.
And then I get the phone call, Allan, the floor is bubbling. And I just went, yes, it's boiling. Yeah, yes, it's soaking up every ounce of water that is in that building. Well, there's no water in the building. Do you live in the South? You got 70% humidity every single day, making that wood expand and pop and bubble. Finally, they got the air conditioning put in, and once they got the air conditioning put in, they wondered why I went and bought them about 20 buckets of mud.
Oh, yeah.
Because as the air conditioning began pulling moisture out of the building, a bucket of mud is really heavy and will flatten out a bubble in a floor pretty good.
There you go.
So
it's not ideal, though.
No, it's not, but it doesn't scuff. It's better than a cinder block, but... Right. And when they get done with it, I get the mud.
There you go. But Kurt, crawl spaces are just one of the things that you do. So we're gonna ask it, because I like I said, I live on a slab and I want to make sure our foundation is healthy. So we've got more questions for you when we come back. But we're visiting with Kurt Weir here on Tool Talk Radio. If you got any questions, get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Ow!
Those gears down there really hurt.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com. Our pal Max over there behind the glass. And in the house, Kurt Weir. He's a certified field inspector for Groundworks, one of our great sponsors. And I kind of like this setup, Allan. We've got Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling taking care from basically from the top down to the, and then we have the foundation covered. So really we have the entire home taken care of here from on Tool Talk Radio. But if you've got any questions about your foundation, which could be a basement or a crawl space or a slab, this is the day to get in touch. Max, did somebody else?
Well, I had a follow-up with regards to what Allan was saying about wood, and we got a text from Norman Rockwell.
Okay.
Norman Rockwell said, I drew blueprints and do the site inspection for flooring for a big box store.
Oh, awesome.
And anytime we are measuring for laminate or wood, we have to take moisture readings. You would be surprised about the jobs I walk into that people are looking for flooring, and the floor is wavy up to 3/4 of an inch.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Sounds like a horror story for you
Yeah,
guys.
that's a big hump, right?
Absolutely.
Kurt? So, I mean, okay, that's not normal, folks. That your house is, like you said, it shouldn't do that. Even if your house was built in the 70s. We're not fans of 70s construction. I don't know about you, Kurt. But.
I can tell it's a 70s house.
Yeah.
That long, narrow hallway going down to the bedrooms.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we just, it just was not a shining moment in home construction. So,
no.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Norman Rockwell, for that. So, but,
well, the biggest thing I want to look, I'm going to look at Kurt again and go, all right, so what is the most common thing you find in the Mid-South?
Well, here in the Mid-South, most houses are crawl spaces, honestly.
Right.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It's turning. Now they're going, a lot of the newer constructions are slabs. But in the north of the Mason-Dixon line, wherever that is, everybody's got a basement. And
right.
You'd almost think it'd be the opposite down here in Tornado Alley, where we would need basements, right? But when I did some traveling for Groundworks recently and went north, and I did some research on that myself, and I found out that the reason is that basements are so prevalent in the north is because of the frost line.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Everything's
I didn't know
enclosed.
That,
All your hot water tanks and everything are in the basement.
Yeah,
so,
and it's because of the frost line. Because if our footings here are 2 or 3 feet down, right?
Oh yeah, we get excited at 18 inches.
That's right.
They start talking 4 feet.
Yeah. So
and a lot of basements are finished like that. That's living space.
Oh, it is absolutely. Well, it is a mix. There's a lot of both. Some of them are like a dungeon. Because they've got their oil tank down there for their heating system and stuff like that. But here is primarily crawl spaces. Primarily, still, the old town, midtown Memphis, stuff like that. A lot of basements for sure. But I don't know why we don't have more basements here. I don't know the reason behind that.
Water and clay soil.
Yeah, but
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Can I? Sorry,
that's all right.
Can I ask you about this because Kurt, you brought something up that's very fascinating to me. We have a segment on our show called Design Flaws, where we just talk about things that maybe they just weren't designed as well as they should. Well, I grew up in Chicago, and we had everybody had basements. We had a basement,
right.
And we happened to be at the bottom of a very slight hill. But it was like, there was a hill at the top and then there was another hill and we were directly at the bottom. And I'll never forget growing up, this had to happen 3 or 4 times. For example, one time we had a really bad storm that knocked the power lines out of our neighborhood. And it was probably a power outage for, 2 days. Well, during that 2 days, we're getting torrential rain. And literally because they have a thing called a sub pump, Allan, I guess.
Right.
And basically it flooded almost to the top stair of our basement. And it's an unfinished basement, but still we had stuff down there. That's where our washing machine and everything. But to me, that seems like a huge design flaw because the only thing keeping our basement from flooding was a sub pump and the power's out. So I don't know, man. It's like
well, that's why usually when we waterproof a crawl space or a basement now, we usually recommend a sump with a battery backup. for that reason.
And so my question too with that, because a sub pump is basically it's pumping water from the ground to get it out and making sure it never. Because if you lifted there was like a little cover. It almost looked like a well, and when you lift it up, you'd see a little bit of a layer of water underneath there. But is there I guess I'm just wondering, in an emergency situation, would it make more sense to seal that? Like maybe that's a watertight seal until you get your power back, or some. I don't know, man. It just it seemed like a huge design flaw.
Water pressure is not going to let you seal it.
No.
Okay.
Let me promise you that.
Yeah, hydrostatic
Being
pressure.
from Houston,
Yeah. Yeah.
where the water table occasionally was 1 inch above your yard. You don't have basements and stuff in Louisiana and Texas, and in the wet parts of Texas, and the dry parts maybe. Of what you're up against there, and especially right here in the Mid-South, the reason you don't see very many basements is our clay soil and the amount of water that moves through that soil. But I'm going to look at Groundworks, and I'm going to do kind of a free commercial for you here real quick, because what people don't realize is the amount of water moving subterraneously through your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you look at your landscaping, and we get into French drains, and this is kind of near and dear to my heart because I just did 3 jobs in the last month that involved 50 years worth of mulch moving water the wrong direction. And I'm sure you see that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, 50 years ago, this was a great idea. Everything was nice and dry and high and beautiful, but now 50 years of mulch later, water's got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So it's going to find somewhere to go.
Right.
And there is a lot of water in clay soil.
Oh, yeah.
Clay soil loves water, hangs on to it. And when it can't get enough of it, it gets weird looking and cracks. That's where you find we haven't had a drought this year, but a couple of years ago, I'd get people calling me going, I have a huge crack in my backyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, don't step in it. It's just where the soil's dried out so much it can't stick together anymore.
Yeah.
Now these things do affect of whether you have too much moisture or not enough. Also affects your foundation, because where I'm from in West Texas, you could actually have desiccation where the soil moved away from your foundation.
Yeah, too dry. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's actually a lot of that's one of the learning things for myself is the foundations are more likely to present with problems during a drought. I mean, it's not that it couldn't happen during the rainy season too, but drought, that ground moves a lot more and cracks and stuff like that. So the movement there, I mean, that's, you're looking at a guy that loves moisture, rain, and drought. I like them all because it's going to make our phone ring.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious too. Because we do have basements out here, not a lot. Like I'm thinking of these midtown homes that are, 100 years old. They all have basements.
Right.
But what's the situation there? Because now you've got you've got concrete, you've got all of this underground, and that presents its own problems, right? So
I think, for one, as you guys know, and I think because of the age of the 3/4 of the people in this room, that we understand the craftsmanship a while back was a lot better, period.
Yes.
In general. I'm not saying there's not.
These houses are well built.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. 'Cause those old houses hold up well. Moisture is, in a 100-year-old house, it's a lot more time and effort for the moisture to damage wood than it does, a house that's been built in the last 40 years,
right?
Or something like that, or those glorious houses from the 70s.
I'm just wow.
But moisture is it's my best friend. I mean, it creates a lot of business for us, and a lot of people don't think about the effects it has on like I have customers say, I opened my closet up and I had mold on my shoes in there.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that. There's those signs, those symptoms that are showing up of things that could be wrong. Now, in a slab house, different. Now, you asked a while ago about a slab house. Still, it's kind of the same things that may present in the slab house, where it's cracks over the doors and doors sticking, that's usually where you'll see stuff like that, or separation at the countertop level. You'll see some separation, stuff like that. And they're not, that those, it can happen not as often, but it does happen with slab houses. We have to do a lot of work with slab houses too.
And do you see houses, because here in the Mid-South, I've seen houses where you have a slab over on this side of the house and then the other is a crawl space. So it's really important to know actually what your house is sitting on. So, okay. A lot of foundational conversation today, you guys. We're visiting with Kurt Weir from over at Groundworks. So if you've got questions, get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Did somebody say boom?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Thanks, Max, for turning. Okay, finally. And we'll come back to...
Your mics went boom.
Yeah. And we'll come back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and the tardy Max over there behind the glass. And our friend Kurt Weir, he's a certified field inspector for Groundworks. And we're talking all about, healthy foundation for your home. And, the importance of controlling moisture and everything. I don't know about you, Kurt. There's this show that my wife and I discovered, and I think it's something along the lines, it's called Abandoned Places. And you see these buildings, or you see these, it might be an old bowling alley or an old amusement park or an old something that it's, nobody's using it anymore. And you can't help, and you would think it's just sitting there. So, but these things are ravaged, and it's mostly by water, The roof caved in, or it's moldy and everything's popping and separating. So water is slowly trying to destroy our homes, right? I mean, and take everything out. So, but we're going to continue the conversation. But Max, you said somebody else had a question on the text line. Is that right?
This is going to be a day where I repeat certain sound effects, I guess.
That's okay.
Well, we got a text from David.
Okay.
I have a pitched backyard that sends water straight to my foundation.
Oh, gosh.
It's caused cracks in the foundation walls. Can Groundworks fix those cracks?
Kurt, I bet you see this all the time. Like somebody's downhill from their neighbor or something, and every time it rains, oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of common, when they're packing houses close together, and that those things. I don't know why people don't have the I don't know, knowledge, foresight, whatever it is, to know that's potentially going to be a problem. And I see that, we do see that quite a lot, where water's coming down the hill from the neighbor or whatever. Yeah. And I always tell somebody, like if I'm at a house where they're going to sell, I said, where are you going? And they may tell me I'm moving to Arlington or wherever, whatever it may be. I said, get a house as high on the hill as you can get.
Live upstream.
Live upstream. That's right.
But even that, your house could slide downhill or something. So what's your advice for David though? Because he's asking. Well, I guess you're gonna have to come out and look at it. But what is the problem? I mean, to me, it seems fairly obvious. But for listeners, why do you not want a bunch of water rushing downhill at you?
Yeah, there's two things going on there. Water is one issue, because if it's a slab house. A lot of times people are getting water in their house when it comes down like that. So there's the one issue with the water there that needs to be taken care of. But if it's already created cracks in the foundation, then it's probably going to need some piers or something like that to hold it up. And piers are steel tubes driven down to load-bearing strata or bedrock, and with a bracket underneath the footing to hold that, basically put the house on a stilt back there on solid ground.
I got a question, and maybe it's an unfair question, but I'm asking you this right on the air, Kurt.
That's
Do you
fine.
guys partner with other contractors? Because when I'm hearing this, I'm almost wondering if it's a two-pronged approach, or maybe you need a little, I don't know, small retaining wall built or something to just maybe offset that or redirect that water. So you could, in other words, Groundworks could fix the foundation, but maybe somebody else comes in and they do something to kind of alleviate it or mitigate it or something.
I don't know that we typically partner with people all the time. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, for sure.
Okay.
And it's a lot of times, especially like here in Memphis being the biggest area in our service area at this point, getting someone, and then people that live in the Memphis area that have been here for years know people. And that's a big deal. And that's how, I mean, we get tons of referrals the same way. You know, hey, they fixed my house, or they fixed my cousin's house, or whatever it may be, you know, and that kind of helps us get more business ourselves. But we also, not as a referral, but we on occasion will say, hey, this guy may be able to help you.
I would say in general, man, if your house is on any kind of a slope, I don't care if it looks gradual, if there's any sort of, I would want you guys to come out and just check my house just for the sake of getting a clean bill of health, if nothing else. So, because this inspection's free, we should mention that.
Yeah, and that sometimes can be detrimental. Free inspection, come on out here. Well, you know, hey, I got this, my refrigerator leaks, you know, or something like, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You know. Okay. But,
all right, I want to kind of cue on two things. You know, we're back to water is the enemy, but Kurt said people are surprised when they find out how much dirt really moves.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick on at least two neighborhoods in Memphis, 2 or 3 subdivisions that I can think of, where when they were putting them together, and of course during our favorite time frame in the whole world, Joe, in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
They thought those gentle rolling hills and slopes were a great idea. And there are a lot of houses where the soil is, let's just say, not happy where they left it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of foundations. I see this very commonly. You'll see like a crack in the driveway.
Yeah.
Going up. And it doesn't stop at the foundation. Chances are, if you see a crack in the driveway going towards your house, chances are your foundation is also cracked.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm saying this is a really big hint. And the one thing I really want to point out is, as a craziness, the number one thing that could be getting into your house that you wouldn't know about is termites.
Yeah, because
they'll come right on up through that little crack without any problem.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also ants, right? I mean, isn't that something too? What if somebody may have a bunch of ants congregating in one area? That can be a foundation problem, right? I mean,
well, it could be. I mean, that's not really one of the symptoms of it. But what you said about the crack made more sense to me. And what I was thinking while you were saying that is, everybody in the world can picture, even through description on radio, a fault line.
Right.
And just imagine if your house is built over a fault line.
Right.
And what you said is that the crack's not just up your driveway, it's under your foundation too. So if your house is sitting on that fault line, if you will, it's easy to picture that with the fault line. I'm not saying that's the case with a house, but if that crack is going up the driveway, now the driveway is a separate foundation, if you will, than from the house. But if there's been some kind of movement, there's a lot of things that point to potential problems. And I think a lot of people just don't like driveways. I drive on neighborhood after neighborhood, and I see all these busted up but everybody thinks that's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be like that. We can stabilize that thing and correct it, And I went to one yesterday where water was the issue. I actually went to the neighbor's house. This is in Jonesboro. The girl had set an appointment, and she had some washout on her driveway. Well, right next door, there was an older man that lived there, had been there 20 plus years. His driveway literally had like 2-foot square chunks that had fallen down into a void where the neighbor's water had eat underneath his driveway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not just, your neighbor's problem could be your problem.
I was going to say, do you wind up ever, perfect example, we were talking about this tree. It's affecting my neighbor and me. So I'm sure there's times where maybe you're dealing with more than one house, right? Maybe the neighbors are both working with you on a problem.
There's a golf course community in Jonesboro that in one stretch of 8 houses, we did work on 6 of those.
There you go.
So, and it's same contractor. So
yeah. Of course, they're all, they built that development. They built them at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hey, Kurt, I don't know that we painted very much of a picture of what this inspection looks like, because one of the things I find impressive, it's a free inspection, and this isn't just you walking around with a clipboard, right? This is pretty comprehensive. You use the word like a health checkup at the doctor or
Right.
something, right? So
Yeah. So typically, what we'll come into a person's house. We'll do a confirmation call, 2 days ahead, an on the way call 30 minutes prior. We've got an app on our phone. We click it. They know we're coming by text. All these things. We do that. It's very intentional.
it's nice to know, especially if you're the homeowner.
Right. And then, if you're dealing with a 40-year-old single woman, or you're dealing with an 80-year-old widow, that's by herself, they want to know who's coming and all that stuff. So, but we show up, we tell them a little bit about the company, tell them the process we're going to go through, and what we do basically then is we listen to them, and we listen to what they know is wrong with their house, or they think may be wrong with their house. And we do an extensive inspection, and sometimes they'll call us for a driveway, and we ended up crawling under the crawl space too, or the other way around. So it's kind of a neat little health checkup for a house. And it's not about. I always tell my customers, it's not about trying to build a bigger project, a proposal for you. It's trying to show you, hey, here's what's wrong, here's how we fix it, and here's what it costs.
Right.
And just trying to let them know, here's what you could do, and it's my job to tell you what's wrong with the thorough inspection, and then it's your job to tell me what you want to do.
There you go. So, and I mean that a free inspection, and one of the things we always say, a foundation problem never gets better with age, and you have to have a healthy foundation.
Right.
So why not take
biblical.
advantage of it?
It's our cue for years has been the roof doesn't heal.
Yeah.
That foundation, it's kind of like going to the dentist. It ain't going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. And I'm going to throw in the caveat, just like your roof, your foundation, the longer you wait, the longer you put off stuff, the more expensive it becomes.
Yeah, and the foundation affects everything else too. So it's like, to me it just makes sense. It's like you wouldn't say you wouldn't not go to the doctor for 30 years. You go for a checkup even if you feel okay. So I mean, stay on top of it, folks. It's
Absolutely.
important. So all right, well, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com. Our pal Max over there behind the glass. And in the house, our buddy Kurt Weir. He's a certified field inspector for Groundworks, one of our great sponsors. And Allan, people may have just woke up. They may just be tuning in, and they're kicking themselves that they missed our earlier conversation. Well, there's a solution, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely. All they got to do is aim their browser to tooltalkradio.com. There is literally years and years and years of content available. We're amazingly podcasted across the YouTube, Spotify, and many, many other networks.
Right. And one of the things that's fun is, as you said, with the internet, you can get listeners anywhere in the world. And you said there's a New Zealand contingent.
We have a lot of listeners in New Zealand, Norway, Spain. The one that's got me fascinated right now is Romania keeps popping up.
Okay, well, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey, when you go on the road, to those places, I want to go with you.
Kurt just perked right up when I said Romania. All right.
Kurt, off the air, we were talking about how critters might affect your foundation. I'm just wondering, because, we hear these stories from Australia where a boa constrictor crawled into their ventilation or up the toilet drain or something. What kind of, could you imagine the foundation problems you could have out there from the, everything out there is trying to kill you.
Yeah, if there's something
that's
big,
just Florida.
Yeah.
If there's something big enough to mess with your foundation, I'm finding a new job.
Yeah, because I mean, these Australians are tough. They on the way to school, they're having to fight off alligators and boa constrictors.
You're obviously not from Texas, are you?
Okay.
Yeah, we got just as bad a critters down there, I promise.
But you got guns in Texas. You don't have them in Australia.
That's true. But you don't shoot a javelina, you're just going to make it mad.
Okay. Yeah.
Picture a really primitive pig with a real bad attitude.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And pigs are faster than they look, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Kurt, we were talking a little bit about the inspection process and everything, and well, we were talking about price off the air as well. But I mean, there's no one. I mean, you might have a very inexpensive solution, or you might have something costly, but you have to know. You have to be an informed homeowner. It's time. It's just,
right. Yeah, so. It's that scares a lot of people when you say foundation. Like, I've got a lot of friends that are realtors, and if there's any kind of foundation issue, that runs a lot of buyers off. So there, for one, you got to take care of your house.
Yeah.
But foundation problem, and now that's a very broad statement. Foundations could be. I mean, do you consider your driveway part of your foundation? Maybe. It's a driveway, or your pool deck. Is that? But when I think of foundation, I think more of the house itself. It could be a basement, a crawl space, or a slab. And I mean, sometimes the fix, is $1,500. Sometimes the fix is $50,000.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. It's our job to show what the fix is and to fix it properly. That's the one thing at Groundworks that we want to do is fix it one time. They want that homeowner to spend money one time. You would not believe how many jobs that I've sold in my career that they have already spent money before, once or twice, trying to do it cheaply, even if it wasn't cheap, and not doing it right. And then we have to come back in and do it right, and fix it permanently.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. I mean, you have to. There's some things that are just fundamental to your home, and if you don't have a solid foundation, you're just going to have ongoing problems. So.
Well, I've always talked to my customers about just like the medical aspect of this. You want something that, like, if you go to your doctor and your doctor says, "Oh, I've seen this 1,000 times. It's easy to fix."
Yeah,
that gives you a lot of comfort. It's the same thing if I come to the house. You go, "Oh, we do this every single day." You don't want your doctor to go, I've never seen that before. Then you're like, oh crap, now what? Am I gonna die? And then another thing there is that comparison to the medical world is if the doctor says you have to have open heart surgery or whatever it is, something drastic, and it's $50,000, it's $100,000, it's $500,000. Okay, when do we get it done? There's no hesitation with that.
Oh, it's
most of the time.
Yeah.
But a house, they're like everybody, and we've programmed ourselves in this country, me included, to gravitate to the cheapest thing. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And as contractors, to do it right, it may not be cheap.
We have a saying on this show, Kurt, and it mostly has to do with our tools, but I suppose it's the same with what you're saying. And it only takes a little more to go first class. Like I have my paintbrush here. This paintbrush costs about another $8 more than the
it's
cheap
a Purdy
brand.
brush.
Yeah, name brand. Okay. Anyway, but but I'm just saying,
think it's lovely too.
I used to sell those. That's why I knew the
Well,
the
the
label.
thing is, with tools, why not just spend the extra? Because you're going to get 5 times the use out of it. It's not going to be a hassle every time you use it, and you don't have to worry about it.
And what are you going to do as a contractor when you buy a more, I hate to say, more expensive tool? You're going to take care of that tool because you spent more money on it.
Right.
As opposed to a cheap brush, you go and throw it away.
And I think another thing, because you talked about realtors, you're talking about this. The other thing is it's a point of it's an attractive feature if somebody goes, oh, we had the foundation in other words, if somebody buys a home and they had Groundworks come out and they know that the foundation is secure and sound, that's a selling point too. So it works both ways.
Right.
But
it is important to do it right, especially if you ever, and that's one of the questions that we're designed to ask a customer is, how long do you plan on staying in this house?
Yeah.
Because if you're a first time homeowner, all you're worried about is paying the note on the house, right? That's all you're worried about. But if then all of a sudden there's a foundation issue and you just bought the house, well, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
You still got to fix it. And if you've been in a house for 40 years and you want to downsize, you want to move to Florida or Texas, where those wampus cats are, whatever you call them, those, something like that, you want to move, then you maybe do want to do it on the lower end of the cost, to at least do it right, because you have to disclose that when you sell the house.
Right. That's right. That's why we have disclosure rules and everything. So one more time, get in touch with Groundworks. You can reach them directly at 901-459-2290. or go to groundworks.com and schedule your free inspection today. But hey, Kurt, you guys, before we get out of here, I sort of have a niche problem. And Allan,
That's the most foul,
you're the perfect guy to ask about this. So.
rodent you ever set eyes on.
Thanks, Ray.
I just wanted to hug.
All right.
Oh, rats in the kitchen, just like that delightful movie I taped in the theater.
He just can't resist pushing that hotkey. So we got 2 minutes left. Okay, but this is a Critter Wars. So Allan, my wife is cat sitting for her friend who's been out of town. They're out of town for an extended time. This has like been a month. Okay, well, the Ring camera has showed evidence that there is a chipmunk in their house.
Okay.
Now they have a cat door. My wife has seen the chipmunk.
Yes.
She's trying to let it out. Like there was a couple times where she opened the door and she's chasing it out with a broom, and this thing just goes the other way.
Right.
Well, the recent footage is showing that this chipmunk is looking a little worse for the wear. Now these homeowners are, because they're nice people. They're concerned that the chipmunk is starving to death because they have these cat bowls that the food is automatically open when the cat collar opens, but the chipmunk can't get to the food.
Right.
So now they're asking my wife to put like pecans out on the.
Okay.
So you got a hungry squatter.
How do you get this chipmunk out? And what is the lifespan of a starving chipmunk?
Have a Heart.
Okay.
It is a Have a Heart rodent trap that you can get at any big box store.
Have a Heart. Okay.
Go to the poison section. Look on the bottom floor.
We're not killing this thing,
I'm
Allan.
not killing it. I'm just telling you where it is.
Okay.
Because they're hidden. Because nobody wants to be nice. Everybody wants the death trap.
Okay.
But you'll find it, and it's a little flip door trap, and especially for a chipmunk, a Nutter Butter peanut butter sandwich cookie, and I can guarantee you a safe chipmunk capture.
Okay. Well, we'll keep you posted on the drama. Thanks for that information. So, hey, Kurt, great having you in, man, but it's time to get out of here.
That's
so,
right.
On behalf of my buddy Kurt Weir from Groundworks, and my pal Allan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.
Now go eat some horseradish.
Yeah.